Let's move on to Fox. Fox didn't do half bad last year. They had some good, they had a lot of good shows that I liked that didn't make it. Like, I really liked the that show I can't remember the name of, the Almost Human. I like that. That didn't make it. Sleepy Hollow was a surprise hit for Fox, and that was really great. And they've got some stuff going on. So they've got some interesting shows. They've got one comedy, which is highly anticipated, Mulaney, which we'll talk about shortly. And then they've got a reality show called Utopia. And then they've got something called the Red Band Society, Gotham, and Gracepoint, all dramas.
Those are some heavy-hitting dramas coming out there.
Oh yeah,
this is serious business.
Well, Fox is the opposite of Fox is sort of known for their comedies and their animation, so they're really trying to put their make their mark back in the drama world. So they've got rolling out some very serious dramas here. We'll talk about them. Before we talk about that, we should talk about their comedy, Mulaney, which is I think we're all very excited about this.
Yeah.
And so John Mulaney is a guy who was he used to be a writer on Saturday Night Live, and he was sort of he's like this kind of Conan O'Brien guy who also was a writer on SNL and a writer on The Simpsons. Conan was, and it's this guy who you've never heard of or never seen, but it's like everyone who works with him says he's the funniest, most brilliant guy ever.
You've been laughing at his stuff for years. You just don't know that he wrote it.
Just like Conan O'Brien was 20 years ago.
Well, even before he was on SNL, he was actually one of the talking heads for Best Week Ever. Right. So that's where people got to see him.
People kind of they know him as a persona there.
Yes.
But as a writer, what they found out there, and then it's just very similar to Conan O'Brien, how Lorne Michaels, who's a genius, have had the foresight to say, I think Conan would be great at late night, and everyone's like, this kid, he's a writer, and then cut to 20 years later, we have Conan O'Brien. Same thing with Jimmy Fallon. I think Jimmy Fallon will be good at late night. Cut to now, Jimmy Fallon's the head of the Tonight Show, and he's amazing. So Lorne Michaels like, I think this kid needs his own sitcom, and everyone's like, what? This Mulaney kid, and it looks hilarious. It's got Joe's good friend and UCLA Bruin classmate Nassim Pedrad.
I love her. She's amazing.
It's got Martin Short, who looks like
who's got one Emmy, but when you put it in the mirror, it looks like
two.
He just makes me laugh and smile.
He insists upon it, like he's like, you're going to laugh. I don't care if you like it or not.
He's so funny to me. I don't know.
I agree.
And Elliot Gould, who's also great and who I love, and the brother's name who I can't remember.
Zach Perlman.
Huh?
Oh, the brother. Oh, the brother you met. That brother.
Yeah, he plays. His name is like. See, this is.
Hold on.
Oh, man, the black guy, can't remember the black guy's name.
Nice that you know Seton Smith. Seton Smith.
Yes. I'm sorry, Seton.
Yeah.
Sorry, brother.
And then Zach Perlman, who's really good too. Yeah.
So I know we're on some. Check out the pilot or check out the clips. It's just very funny.
It has that Seinfeld feel to it in the sense that you see him doing stand up, and then also see him in an apartment with his friends, and even like Zach Perlman's character kind of has that Kramer-esque.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, attitude when it comes in a bit. Yeah. So it's just it's like Seinfeld. What if Seinfeld was a working TV writer, on a talk show, almost type of thing. So
it's so funny. That's a thing now. Like that. No, Seinfeld did the thing like, well, I'm gonna do stand up to start my show, and then like Louis does that too, and now Mulaney does it. It's kind of interesting that's become a thing, and people are just like, oh yeah, the stand up guy, the guy who did stand up at the beginning. Anyway, so look out for that. But other stuff on Fox is this thing Utopia. Like it's a reality thing. I don't. I know nothing about this show. Julia, tell me what's going on.
Let me tell you about Utopia. Okay. So Utopia, it's actually based on a Dutch hit of the same name that was just like crazy hit.
The Dutch do reality better than anyone, by the way.
Well, this comes from John de Mol, who is like the Dutch media. Yeah. What did I say it wrong?
Yeah, you said no. So his company's Endemol.
Oh yes, yeah. He's like this media tycoon. Yes. He also is mastermind behind Big Brother, Fear Factor, Deal or No Deal. So this is his as well. So what they're doing is they're taking 15 Americans. They're taking them to this remote, isolated location with no infrastructure, nothing, just a location, and they have to build a society for a year, and they're one entire year, 52 weeks.
So it's like Survivor on steroids.
Yes, but they're calling it the ultimate reality TV because there is no prize, and they are just being watched. There's camera surveillance 24/7. You can go online to, I think it's just utopiatv.com, and you could watch it streaming. But you could also tune in on Sundays. It premieres on September 7th on Fox.
Wow.
So what they're doing is they just have, it's like this ultimate social experiment.
It's like Fishbowl.
They kind of, so it kind of like sounds perfect to build your utopian society, but you know they're going to have different ideas of government, religion, commerce, gender,
how many
equality.
people again?
15.
But
you have to prove yourself as indispensable to the society as they build the society up.
Or they kill you.
If not, then they kill you, or they
kill you.
exile you, and they bring in someone else. So they're consistently casting this as well.
So it stays 15 no matter what.
Yes, no matter what. There's no prize to be
Right.
won. There's no one who's going to come up victorious at the end. It's just watching them build a society and see how they do.
Like in the past, in the Dutch shows, are like, it's a leader emerge? Is it like a weird guy?
Well,
like,
that
I'm
depends.
the leader.
It depends how they want to set up any
they
sort
can
of
do whatever
government
they want.
style.
Right.
Yeah, they have to decide amongst themselves and agree amongst themselves. There have been some problems on one of the contestants named Hex. He's already had to be hospitalized for dehydration. Another was booted already. It hasn't even premiered yet. Another's already been booted when she was found with a snuck-in smartphone and she was trying to research the other contestants. Shady business.
Shady business. Now, when do they all get naked? Because all these
That's episode 3.
all these reality
I'm sure
shows,
there'll
like
be
every
plenty of nudity.
Especially
There will
every
be
Dutch.
love. This
It
is
comes
an
from the
entire
Dutch.
year.
every other reality show is like naked and afraid, naked
Right.
dating.
Oh my God, I love Naked and Afraid.
I know, it's a great show. All right,
This
so,
kind of reminds me a little bit of Kids Nation on CBS when they had like a bunch of kids and they started their own town.
whose idea was that? It's the worst idea ever. Let's take a bunch of 13-year-olds.
That was a crazy
leave them
one.
to their own devices and start a town.
That was a
Kill
crazy.
the
For some
pigs,
reason, I
spill
kind of
its
think
blood.
of that. I kind of think of that show a little. This is obviously looks a lot more grander than that one was,
Sure.
but still very interesting.
It looks interesting,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
it's kind of interactive. You go online and you watch them, and I don't know if you vote. I'm not sure. I'm sure you vote.
And I believe it's starting this week, right? There's like a bunch,
September 7th. Yeah,
there's a bunch.
Sundays.
They have a bunch of special edition episodes before it settles into its regular time slot.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
But then you could always watch it on utopiatv.com.
kind of like Big Brother.
Right.
Much
Yeah.
like Big
Much
Brother.
Much like Big Brother.
Thank you, John DeMol.
It's interesting.
There you go, Utopia, guys.
All right. Well, I'll check that out in
Give it a whirl.
alternate universe.
I was going to say, I do not suspect he has any intention of checking this out.
Let me know how it
Way
works
to promote
out.
the show.
I'm sure it'll be awesome.
Set your DVR.
I'll give that a whirl.
What's this Gracepoint?
Gracepoint is kind of a unique offering this season. It's a Fox show that is going to be basically, it's a 10-episode mystery event. It's basically a novella. It's based on the British show called Broadchurch.
Yeah, Broadchurch.
And it's the same creator, same writer. It's Chris Chibnall. And it's he brought in James Strong to direct all of them. He's from Doctor Who, Torchwood. So this is it has a very British pedigree. Basically, this is a 10-hour movie, essentially, that is following a murder in a small town and kind of peeling back the layers. We have David Tennant here from Broadchurch and Doctor Who.
And
He'll
Doctor
be playing
Who.
Emmett Carver. And we have Anna Gunn from Breaking Bad.
Anna Gunn,
Who'll be playing,
two-time Emmy Award winner.
Absolutely.
3-time Emmy winner. 3 or 2? Well,
I think 2.
Yeah.
Might be 2. I'm not sure. From Breaking Bad. They're going to be joined by Nick Nolte, who is a guy who gives such an interesting vibe to it. Like it's just like a spice that you didn't expect to have in the sauce. So it basically this Ellie Miller comes back from a vacation. She's been counting on getting this big promotion. She's worked real hard for, and it turns out that the promotion has gone to Emmett Carver, David Tennant's character, and they've just brought him in. She's never met him before. And all of a sudden, day one, she's back. Her son's best friend is found dead on the beach, and this is her very first homicide, her very first case, and basically everyone's a suspect, and we kind of peel apart the town. So I think it's based on what I've seen of it and the people involved, I think it's going to be a really, really interesting show.
Yeah, I feel like there's no chance that this is not going to be great. I mean, Broadchurch is fantastic. Was fantastic. If you haven't seen Broadchurch, check that out. And I think that usually we talk about these adaptations. You take in a British thing and bring it over to here, but this is all the same folks. So it'll be interesting to see how they adapt it here. I'm really
Well, I think this is definitely going to be, in my opinion, the event of the fall as far as what show to watch. I think this is going to be a phenomenal show. It's got a great pedigree. Again, David Tennant, he's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah,
I mean,
great.
I mean, a lot of people would know him from Doctor Who. He's the second Doctor Who actor who was doing a show here in the fall. Karen Gillan from Selfie being the other one. Anna Gunn, coming off of Breaking Bad, it's great for her. There's definitely that. it's not as creepy as Twin Peaks, but there's that little bit of that Twin Peaks type vibe.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little bit of like the success of True Detective. I kind of see this show kind of going somewhere in that direction too. Similar vein. There's just so much good about this show, and even for those people who have seen Broadchurch, they, I know some people have issues with BBC shows being readapted to look more American, but they did change the ending, so no one really knows what the ending is.
So no one knows where this is going to go, and it's been expanded dramatically. That's the idea. We got a lot more characters. We got a lot more scope. Right. So if you were into Broadchurch, this should not bother you. This should not theoretically throw you off. Right. And you were talking about Anna
it's actually
Carver.
a bit of a companion piece in some
that's
ways.
the idea. You should be able to
like
expand from the original.
Right.
I have a pet peeve about British actors playing American. It really bugs the heck out of me. And I'm watching the show, the trailers, and I'm looking at David Tennant. I'm going, God, I don't know him, but he's too good for me not to know. He's got to be British. And then when I did my dive, and I was like, oh, of course.
There he is.
So the wonderful thing I think about what True Detective and now with Gracepoint is there's such a freedom to the writers. They do not have to bring the characters back next season. We can kill anybody we want. It doesn't matter if the audience has a favorite. I'm not contractually obligated to make sure this person makes it.
Well, this is a new thing. This is where you track all these great feature writers and feature directors. Obviously, like Steven Soderbergh with The Knick is
incredible.
That's an incredible show that we won't touch on because it's happening now. But like, man, The Knick and and we talked about True Detective with Pizzolatto, and so this is kind of the new thing. You take you get 8 episodes or 10 episodes. Fargo's another one.
Yeah.
You get like a 10-hour movie, and it's fun stuff. So, looking forward to this one very much.
What is it about an idyllic seaside town that is just so freaking creepy?
Scary. Not so idyllic ever.
Not so idyllic. They all move there for a purpose.
So
Don't know what.
So Fox has this other thing called the Red Band Society, which has been just buzzed on like crazy. Nando, what's going on with this show?
This is, it's been called like the Breakfast Club. In a children's hospital, and it makes a lot of sense. A lot of kids who end up not having similar backgrounds, they end up meeting up in a hospital where they're forced to be there. It's kind of like their version of detention, and they get to interact with each other. And I think it's beautiful, and it tugs on your heartstrings a little bit. You see these kids. The narrator is in a coma. He's a kid in a coma, and he's narrating the story kind of like a Desperate Housewives type of thing with their narrator who's dead. But you have the different kinds of kids. You have the jock, you got the hot girl, you've got the nerdy kid, you got the introvert, you got a bunch of different types of kids, and they get to bond together over their shared circumstances. And what's appealing about this show too is the adult. None of the kids are really well known, but the 2 adult supporting cast members are Octavia Spencer from The Help, the second another cast member from The Help, Viola Davis,
Academy Award winner,
Academy Award winning Octavia Spencer, and Dave Annabelle. So really good cast rounding out, and I think people will be drawn to this show. Fox has been doing a lot of publicity for this. They were doing a campaign for charity to try and see if they can do the reveal for the pilot earlier.
Spielberg's
online.
Involved.
Spielberg's involved with this too. It's really, really, really something. And I was doing the research on this because I was thinking, man, it's all about kids dying, but really a lot of the kids who go to children's hospitals, they usually recover and they get out after a certain amount of time. So we could possibly see recurring characters. We could see people going in and out. We could see new people coming in. So it's really going to be interesting to see these kids in the hospital and how they act. And I like it a lot. It kind of, without the singing, it kind of also reminds me of Glee, because Glee kind of is similar in that vein. All these kids banding together.
Freaks and geeks and
you have that high school hierarchy that is sort of thrown out the window when you're thrust into certain situations.
Yeah, and I think they're definitely, it's going to tug at your heartstrings a little bit too.
Oh, it'll be a cry fest.
So.
Come on,
Cryopalooza. Yeah, that's one of the concerns. Is like, and I think Filippo mentioned this earlier. We were talking about this. Is like, the notion of we're going to watch a bunch of sick kids week after week and a bunch of dying kids week after week. Who wants to watch that? But it turns out it may be something that's very uplifting. And
I think a show like this doesn't talk about death. It celebrates life.
Oh,
that's the way I look at it.
Look at that. Did you write that log line? Did you read that? Who wrote that?
That's copyright Nando Velasquez.
Wow.
2014.
This guy.
Yes.
right, that's impressive.
Okay.
All right, so so I will the last show on Fox is Gotham, which is
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
No, I understand. What's it about?
Pass. Next show.
What do you got of Goth? I don't understand.
Gotham is.
Is it about kids wearing makeup?
Yes, no. Gotham is the highly anticipated show, and we were all at Comic-Con, and we were very excited about this show. Highly anticipated show based on sort of DC comic thing based on the city Gotham City where Batman is from. It sort of takes place in the early days before Batman is Batman. It follows a young Commissioner Gordon. Before he's Commissioner Gordon, before he's Lieutenant Gordon, he's just James Gordon, the cop, Detective Gordon. It also deals with a young Bruce Wayne. In the pilot, you see Bruce Wayne's parents get murdered, so the thing that turns him into spoiler. He also becomes Batman. I know. Sorry.
Oh my God! You know what? Whatever. I don't have to watch it now.
Sorry, but so you see that, and the whole thing is sort of like the friendship between Bruce Wayne and James Gordon, but it also tells the story of Gotham City. It's a full-blown cop drama procedural, except it's set in Gotham City. And you see people we know
Penguin.
The Penguin, this is Oswald Copperpot.
Yep.
And you see Edward Nygma, who's the Riddler. You see Selena Kyle, who is Catwoman, and you see the other
Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy. There's other characters like Fish Mooney, who's played by Jada Pinkett.
A lot of she's actually
brand new.
She's a new character.
She's a new character
who's like sort of who's the villain, and also Donnell Logue, who I also love. He's in there too, playing a sort of ambiguous guy.
I believe, he was on Sons of Anarchy, and he cut his role on Sons of Anarchy got cut short so he could audition for Gotham.
And he's a guy who's also had a lot of that back.
He's so good.
He's been around for a long time.
Long
He's just good.
time. This is good for him.
Yeah,
he's getting better and better and huger roles every season.
Yeah.
And I should say that Gordon is played by Benjamin McKenzie of the OC. For those fans of the OC, like he's back at Fox doing his thing, and 10 years later, and he looks great. And I said the pilot looks fantastic. The show looks fantastic. If you're not even a comic book fan, if you don't care about Batman, you can just sort of sit in and watch this as a cool sort of cop, drama. That's a cool thing about it. And also,
but if you are a DC nerd, it's
got
Christmas.
plenty of Easter eggs and nuggets for us DC comic nerds. So I'm very excited about it. Obviously, Nando, you're a nerd. You're excited.
I'm cautiously optimistic about it, honestly. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything really against it other than the fact that, let's do a show about Gotham City before Batman was Batman.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that kind of gets you.
It's a tough sell.
It's a
in a lot of ways, there's a lot of pitfalls. There's a lot of danger, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a little bit of that. Like, you know that people are going to be interested because it's Batman's world, but Batman doesn't technically exist. I mean, there's a small Bruce Wayne and everyone's younger, so we get to see those aha moments. But
there's a lot of, the Riddler. And
it's going to have to be written really, really well to sustain. I think it's going to have a phenomenal debut.
But if it gets a 25-year run, it can lead right into Batman.
No problem. By that point, it'll be Dark Knight Rises. Or,
I just
Dark
don't
Knight.
I don't want too many wink moments of
Yeah, but you want Easter eggs, though. You want Easter eggs.
Well, I want things that are subtle for us people who know, but I don't need any slam you over the head moments of
So you want things where people are calling you, Braz, I didn't understand. What was that?
Yeah, and I'll say, here's the thing.
Here's the thing about what you don't know.
But anyway, I don't know, Julia, have you any interest in this? I know your husband might be interested in this.
Mr.
I'd be
Cearley.
kicked out of the house if I had no interest in this.
For those of you who don't know, Eric Cearley might be the biggest Batman nerd in the history of Batman nerds.
Exactly.
If you know a Batman nerd, he's not as big a Batman nerd, I promise.
Yeah. So
it's really.
So you'll be watching this whether you like it or not.
Whether I
and
like
this will be
it
September.
or not.
This will be September 22nd.
It's
Monday,
coming
September 22nd.
It is interesting to me. I am curious psychologically what the damage that has been done to the American psyche by watching Bruce Wayne's parents get murdered over and over and over again.
I mean,
we've probably witnessed that.
Maybe
more
one
than,
of these days we'll have a different outcome.
Every time,
like
anytime I
Groundhog
see
Day.
parents in an alleyway that just coming out of the theater, I'm like, they're gonna get whacked. There's no questions. They're gonna get whacked. That kid's gonna grow up to be a bat.